Preparing for an Operations Analyst at Bank of America interview? You've reached Candy Mentor, and this video is for you. We'll walk through 15 key questions you're likely to face. For each question, you'll see a sample answer followed by the key points to cover. Subscribe, like, and share, and drop a topic request in the comments. Question 1. Why do you want to work as an Operations Analyst at Bank of America? I'm drawn to operations because it sits where transactions become real for clients. Bookings, confirmations, settlements, reconciliations, and exception resolution. At Bank of America, scale matters, so small process improvements can reduce risk across thousands of items. I like work that combines accuracy, urgency, controls, and collaboration with front office, technology, finance, and compliance. My goal would be to protect the client experience while helping the business run efficiently and safely. While answering, focus on the role of operations in execution, control, and client service. Connect your motivation to Bank of America's scale, risk culture, teamwork, process discipline, and responsible growth mindset. Question 2. Walk me through the trade lifecycle from execution to settlement. A trade starts when the front office executes it, and the details are captured in the trading system. Operations then validates key economics, confirms the trade with the counterparty, and ensures instructions are matched for clearing or settlement. On settlement date, cash and securities move through custodians or clearing platforms. Afterward, teams reconcile internal records to external statements and investigate breaks. The life cycle is really about ensuring the firm's books, client records, and market counterparties all agree. Make sure to cover execution, trade capture, confirmation, matching, clearing, settlement, reconciliation, and exception handling. Emphasize ownership, timeliness, data accuracy, and communication across front office, operations, custodians, and clients. Question 3. What would you do if you found a reconciliation break near the end of the day? First, I would assess the size, product, client impact, and settlement deadline to understand urgency. Then I'd compare internal records against external statements to isolate whether the break came from timing, booking, fees, FX, quantity, or missing trade data. If it was material or time-sensitive, I'd escalate early with clear facts, not wait until the deadline passes. I'd document the investigation, resolution, and root cause so the same break can be prevented. In your answer, talk about triage, materiality, root cause investigation, escalation, documentation, and timely resolution. Show that you understand deadlines, risk impact, and the need to communicate before issues become losses. Question 4. How do you prioritize work when you have high volumes and multiple deadlines? I prioritize by risk, deadline, and client impact. Items affecting settlement, regulatory reporting, client money, or large cash movements come first. I also separate tasks that require external responses from tasks I can complete independently because waiting time matters. I use checklists or trackers to monitor status and avoid missed items. If volumes are unusually high, I flag capacity issues early and agree priorities with my manager, rather than silently letting deadlines slip. Be sure to mention risk-based prioritization, SLA awareness, materiality, client impact, regulatory deadlines, and communication. Interviewers want evidence that you stay structured, rather than simply working fast. Question 5. What does operational risk mean in a banking operations role? Operational risk is the risk of loss or disruption from people, processes, systems, or external events. In an operations role, that could mean an incorrect trade booking, missed settlement, unauthorized change, failed reconciliation, or weak approval control. The key is not just fixing issues after they happen, but designing controls that prevent or detect them quickly. At a bank like Bank of America, strong operational risk management protects clients, capital, reputation, and regulatory trust. While answering, focus on failed processes, human error, system issues, external events, fraud, and control weaknesses. Link operational risk to financial loss, regulatory breaches, reputational damage, and client dissatisfaction. Question 6. A trade fails to settle on settlement date. How would you investigate it? I'd start by confirming the trade economics, settlement date, counterparty, account, and standard settlement instructions. Then I'd check whether the issue is on our side or the counterparty's side. missing cash, insufficient securities, unmatched instructions, wrong custodian details, or market cutoff timing, I'd contact the relevant internal team and external party with specific evidence. If there is buy-in risk, funding impact, or client impact, I'd escalate immediately and track the fail until resolution. Make sure to cover checking trade details, settlement instructions, cash or securities availability, counterparty status, custodian feedback, market cutoffs, escalation, and client communication. Show calm, logical problem solving under pressure. Question 7. Tell me about a time you improved a process or made a repetitive task more efficient. In a previous project, I noticed the team was manually comparing 2 reports every morning, which took around an hour and created room for mistakes. I built a spreadsheet using lookup formulas, conditional formatting, and exception flags, so only unmatched items needed review. I tested it against historical files, documented the steps, and trained teammates. The process became faster and more consistent, cutting review time by roughly half, while improving our ability to spot real exceptions. In your answer, use a clear situation action result structure. Highlight identifying a bottleneck, reducing manual work, improving accuracy, documenting the change, and measuring impact through time saved, fewer errors, or stronger controls. Question 8. What Excel or data skills would you use in an operations analyst role? I'd use Excel mainly to clean data, reconcile records, identify exceptions, and produce clear status reporting. Pivot tables help summarize breaks by age, product, counterparty, or value. Lookup functions help match internal and external records, while conditional formatting highlights missing or unusual items. I'm also comfortable using filters, text functions, and data validation to reduce manual errors. The goal is not fancy spreadsheets. It is faster analysis, better control, and clearer decisions. Be sure to mention practical tools such as pivots, lookups, filters, conditional formatting, text functions, reconciliations, data validation, and basic automation. Connect technical skills to accuracy, exception identification, and reporting quality. Question 9. Operations work can be repetitive. How do you maintain accuracy and focus? I maintain accuracy by using structure rather than willpower alone. For routine tasks, I follow a checklist, confirm key fields, and pay extra attention to high-risk items like amounts, dates, account numbers, and client identifiers. I also understand why each step matters, which makes the work more meaningful. When possible, I batch similar tasks, take short resets, and use exception reports. Repetition is fine if the controls stay sharp. While answering, focus on discipline, checklists, maker-checker controls, breaks between tasks, understanding the risk behind each step, and tracking exceptions. Avoid sounding like you only rely on memory. Question 10. How would you handle a front office colleague pushing you to process something without complete documentation? I would stay professional and acknowledge the urgency, but I would not process an item that violates policy or lacks required approval. I'd explain exactly what is missing, why it matters from a risk or regulatory perspective, and what we need to move forward. If the situation is genuinely urgent, I'd escalate to the appropriate manager or control owner for guidance. Good operations support the business, but not by weakening controls. Make sure to cover professionalism, control standards, escalation, alternative solutions, and client urgency. Show you can be commercial without bypassing policy, especially in a heavily regulated banking environment. Question 11. Why are KYC and AML controls important in banking operations? KYC and AML controls protect the bank from being used for money laundering, terrorist financing, sanctions breaches, or fraud. From an operations perspective, they affect onboarding, account maintenance, payment processing, and transaction monitoring. If customer information is incomplete or activity looks unusual, operations may need to pause, investigate, or escalate. These controls are not just compliance paperwork. They help Bank of America protect clients, meet regulatory obligations, and preserve trust in the financial system. In your answer, talk about verifying customers, monitoring suspicious activity, sanctions screening, regulatory obligations, reputational risk, and preventing financial crime. Keep it practical rather than giving only legal definitions. Question 12. What would you do if you made an error in a report or transaction process? I would raise it as soon as I discovered it, not try to hide or quietly fix it without context. First, I'd assess what was affected: clients, cash, positions, reporting, or downstream teams. Then, I'd notify my manager with the facts, proposed correction, and any time sensitivity. After correcting the issue, I'd document the root cause and adjust the checklist or control if needed. The worst error is one that stays undisclosed. Be sure to mention owning the mistake, assessing impact, notifying the right people, correcting it quickly, documenting the issue, and improving the control. Interviewers value accountability over pretending errors never happen. Question 13. What key metrics would you track in an operations team? I'd track metrics that show whether the process is timely, accurate, and controlled. Examples include daily volumes, items completed within SLA, aged breaks, settlement fail rates, error rates, manual adjustments, and outstanding escalations. I'd also look at root causes, because a low break count can still hide a recurring issue. Good metrics help managers allocate resources, identify control weaknesses, and prove the team is reducing risk rather than just staying busy. While answering, focus on metrics that show both efficiency and control quality. Volumes, aging, error rates, settlement fails, SLA adherence, reconciliation breaks, escalations, and root cause trends. Question 14. What are nostro and depot reconciliations, and why do they matter? A nostro reconciliation compares the bank's internal cash records to cash balances held with an external correspondent or custodian. A depot reconciliation compares internal securities positions to external custody records. Both matter because mismatches can indicate failed settlements, missing cash, incorrect bookings, corporate action issues, or unauthorized activity. In operations, reconciling these accounts gives confidence that the bank's books reflect what is actually held externally, which supports risk control and accurate reporting. Make sure to explain nostro accounts as cash accounts and depot accounts as securities custody accounts. Link reconciliations to detecting missing cash, incorrect positions, settlement issues, fees, and financial reporting accuracy. Question 15. Bank of America emphasizes responsible growth. What does that mean to you in an operations role? To me, responsible growth means helping the business grow without creating avoidable risk. In operations, that means processing accurately, meeting deadlines, following controls, escalating concerns, and improving weak processes before they become bigger issues. It also means treating client outcomes seriously, even when the work is behind the scenes. If I reduce settlement fails, improve reconciliation quality, or prevent an incorrect payment, I'm supporting growth in a safe and sustainable way. In your answer, connect responsible growth to serving clients well, managing risk, following controls, escalating issues, improving processes, and supporting sustainable business activity. Make it specific to daily operations behavior. If you are still with us, congratulations. You are much ahead of the rest and serious about preparing for your interview. We hope we were able to add value to your preparation and create some helpful content. Do not forget to like and share this video. Your small act can do great things for us.